Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a really powerful piece of ancient wisdom from the Great Compassion Sutra. And it uses some pretty wild stories to get at a huge question. If you had something that was truly priceless, what's the right way to share it? Let's get into it.
So let's just start right here. Really think about this for a second. If you had something of just incalculable worth, a groundbreaking idea, a secret to happiness, what do? Do you lock it away? Or do you share it with the world? And maybe more importantly, how would you do it? This is the exact dilemma the sutra sets up for us to explore.
All right, so to explore this, the text doesn't just give us a dry lecture. Nope. Instead, it introduces us to two merchants. And let me tell you, these are probably two of the worst businessmen you could possibly imagine, who are going to show us exactly what not to do.
Just look at how absurd this is. On one hand, you've got the merchant in the wild. This guy wanders into a dangerous forest, finds a gang of armed thieves, and tries to sell them priceless jewels. What does he think is going to happen? Of course, he gets beaten and robbed. But then you've got the merchant in the city who does the complete opposite. He gets to a safe market, people are lining up to buy from him, and he pulls out a weapon and drives them away. It's nuts. They both fail, but for totally different reasons.
Okay, so obviously, these aren't just weird stories about bad business. What we're seeing here is a powerful metaphor at play. The treasure? Well, it isn't gold or jewels. It's something far more precious, and sharing it correctly is a real art form.
So there it is. The treasure is the Dharma. Now, Dharma is a pretty big word, but for our purposes, think of it as the ultimate wisdom, the fundamental truths about life and how to navigate it. It's the path to enlightenment. The merchants then, well, they represent people who have this profound knowledge, but are just completely clueless about how to share it with anyone.
And this is where it all clicks into place, right? The first merchant, the one trying to sell to thieves, that's what happens when you try to force wisdom on people who are not ready for it. They'll just reject it or worse, misuse it. And the second merchant, the one fighting off his customers, that's the person who selfishly hoards their knowledge from people who are genuinely looking for it. The lesson is so clear. It's not just what you know, it's about how and with whom you share it.
So then, just how valuable is this treasure of wisdom? Well, to really hammer this point home, the sutra makes a comparison that is so vast, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
It asks us to picture a wealthy benefactor, someone who decides to make offerings. We're talking food, clothing, shelter, everything you could possibly need for life, to countless enlightened beings. And we're not talking one or two, but an almost infinite number of them.
And the scale here is just staggering. The text asks you to imagine a number of enlightened beings equal to all the grains of sand in the Ganges River, filling up countless universes. Now imagine a single person providing for all of them, for eons. The merit, you can think of it as positive spiritual credit, that you'd gain from an act like that would be, for all intents and purposes, infinite.
But here it is. Here's the incredible twist. The sutra says that all of that infinite merit, from that unimaginable act of generosity, is surpassed. And not by something equally grand, but by a single, simple act that any one of us can do.
And there it is. The merit you get from deeply understanding a piece of this wisdom and then skillfully sharing it with just one other person who is ready to hear it is immeasurably greater. And why is that? Because material gifts, no matter how vast, they're temporary. But sharing wisdom, that can lead someone to lasting liberation. It's the classic difference between giving someone a meal and teaching them how to grow their own food for a lifetime.
So if this wisdom is so priceless, how do we make ourselves worthy of it? How do we protect it? The text actually gives some really direct, practical advice on how to build a life that can hold this kind of treasure.
And it really comes down to these 5 merits of good conduct, which are all about purifying your speech and your mind. And think about it, that makes perfect sense, right? If your words are false or mean-spirited or just frivolous, you can't be a clear channel for wisdom. And on the inside, if you're driven by greed, you can't really value a treasure that isn't material. Mastering these, the text suggests, makes you a worthy vessel for the Dharma.
And all of this leads to this really powerful piece of advice. It's a call for self-reliance. Don't wait for someone else to save you. Your own understanding, your own practice of these core truths, that should be your guiding light, your ultimate sanctuary. It empowers you to be the source of your own clarity.
So after all this, the sutra boils everything down to a beautifully simple conclusion. It identifies 2 key roles, 2 paths that anyone can walk to take part in this sacred exchange of wisdom. So who actually gains this immeasurable merit we've been talking about? The answer is so simple and elegant. 2 types of people. you've got the sincere teacher, the one who skillfully and diligently explains the wisdom. And then you have the attentive listener, the one who listens with their whole heart and full focus, trying to understand. It's a perfect partnership, really. One can't exist without the other, and both are absolutely vital to keeping the lamp of wisdom burning.
And that leaves us with this final question. In any given moment, we have the chance to be one or the other. We can share what we know with clarity and compassion, or we can listen with an open and focused mind. So, which path will you choose today, the teacher or the learner?